Congratulations, you finally made it to 4 p.m. You know what that means. Happy hour. It's time to kick back, relax, and dive into the world of sports with the Young and Norvelle Show. Whether you're catching up on the latest scores, analyzing the big plays, or gearing up for tonight's games, we've got you covered. So grab a cold one, settle in, and let's talk sports. Here they are, Patric Young and Terry Norvelle.
Yo, we have a ton of stuff to talk about on a Hump Day edition of the Young and Norvelle Show. Terry Norvelle here in studio. We got Zach Rothrock hitting all the buttons. Patric Young is in and around Charlotte, where he will be back in studio for his SEC Network basketball duties. A couple of games tonight. He'll be part of the halftime festivities during basketball tonight. Excuse me, I got a little congestion working here. A lot to get to. Zach Rothrock producing. We hope to have Dr. Aaron Bates. We do it every Wednesday, our sports medicine discussion. And my goodness gracious, Dr. Aaron Bates from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. We're going to put him to work now today. We need, Dr. Bates, we need you to discuss Alijah Martin, the hip pointer. He's missed 2 games for the Gators. One of the great basketball players for Florida. We need that hip pointer to be fixed. And, oh my goodness, 30 seconds into the game last night, Alex Condon, one of the great Gator basketball players right now that is going to lead Florida deep into the tournament, we hope. Alex Condon goes down with a twisted ankle. The word is now a low ankle sprain. X-rays in the arena last night were negative. So we're going to run all that by Dr. Bates. What does that mean? Florida, the Gators, a huge road win last night. We'll break it down. The Gators really, they're down 1 at the half, and they open up with a 17-0 run. Florida wins going away. How costly was that win? We'll talk about that around 5 o'clock, hopefully, with Dr. Aaron Bates, our Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Sports medicine discussion. A lot to get to around Gator basketball. A lot to get to around SEC basketball. It's pretty much broken down now. We know, and I'm going to break it down for you. We know the 10 SEC programs that are going to make March Madness. There are 10 right now that are in March Madness, no matter what happens the rest of the way. Now, the SEC has 16 members. 10 we know are in. There are 2 members that are totally out unless they flukishly win the tournament. And Zach Rothrock, I'm so sorry to say, one of the 2 teams that are 100% out unless they go on a 5-day, 5-game heater. South Carolina is not going to March Madness.
Yeah.
And LSU. LSU 1-9, South Carolina 0-10. The only way those 2 get in, they have to win the SEC tournament in Nashville. They have to win on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Zach, I don't like your chances as you're wearing a Gamecocks jersey right now.
Yeah, well, just a T-shirt, not that much pride. I do think they can catch lightning in a bottle. It's going to be tough. And maybe they can allow the women's team to play for the men's team in the tournament, work something out like that. We'll have to see.
So you're wanting the women's Cocks to step in for the men Cocks and win the tournament.
I mean, might as well try something.
Wow, 2 for 1.
Yeah.
A little 2 for 1.
Yeah, might as well try something.
By the way, your Gamecocks roll into Gainesville Saturday night. Did you know that? Gainesville, the men roll into Gainesville
Correct.
Saturday night. By the way, 8:30 tip-off time. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's
Zach.
late.
Zach, can you call me? I can't stay up that late, Zach.
I mean, yeah, luckily the game should probably be in hand pretty early, so it won't be one of those going to go to overtime and go to 11. I think the Gators take care of business pretty early. So you do got that going for you.
Yeah. So anyway, stay with me here, Zach.
Yeah.
And we hope to have Patric a little bit later. Pat's got his SEC network duties tonight, a couple games. I think the SEC is pretty set right now. There are 10 teams right now that are getting in March Madness. 10. You have, of the SEC, there are 2 more spots I think that are going to get awarded. I think the SEC is going to get 12. I don't buy 13. I think 12. Here's what I got. Let's go ahead and say South Carolina and LSU are out, okay? 1-9, 0-10, okay? They're out. There are 16 teams, okay? So that gets us down to 14. I think there are 10 teams in right now. So you've got 4 teams battling for the final 2 spots. 10 plus 2 equals 12, okay? Here are the 4 teams. Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. I think those 4 teams over the next, what do we have, 2.5 weeks, 7 games left. I think those 4 are going to fight and claw and scratch. I think 2 of those 4 are going to play their way in. The SEC is going to get 12 in. I'm sorry, South Carolina is out, and I'm sorry, LSU is out.
I mean, don't look now, but they could definitely catch on fire. They do play LSU next Tuesday, the 18th.
Yes.
Someone has to win that game. And I mean,
you're right.
There's no mathematical way it can end in a tie, correct? I mean, it has to. There's no right. I mean, someone's got to win it. So that could be the paradigm shift they need.
So the way the SEC worked last night, some winners, some losers. Big win for Florida. Number one, we're going to talk about the Condon injury. It does not appear that Alex Condon, his ankle injury, is as bad as it looked. I mean, he's writhing on the court last night. I don't know if you saw it, Zach.
I did this morning, yeah.
30 seconds into the game, by the way. He lands wrong, gets kind of pulled down. It looked bad. And Gator Nation, think about Gator Nation the last 3 years in postseason play. Colin Castleton went down, their best player, 3 years ago. Remember last year in the SEC championship game, Florida versus Auburn, about 1 minute into the game, 7'1" center Micah Hanlogden goes down. He breaks his leg.
Yeah.
The bone pokes through the skin. He's bleeding on the court. Game over. And then, obviously, they lost to Colorado. Season over. When Condon went down last night, I think all of Gator Nation went, holy cow. But it appears now they went ahead and got an X-ray at Mississippi State in the most likely in the arena. They might have sent him out, but they got an X-ray. Negative, the X-ray. It looks like it's a low ankle sprain, negative X-ray. Zach, I think you've been born into the world of high ankle sprain bad, low ankle sprain not so bad. I don't know the difference. We'll talk to Dr. Bates, but it looks like Condon has a chance to miss a few games. And by the way, Florida has a very manageable next 4 games, which covers 2.5 weeks. Anyway, it looks like it may not be as bad as Gator Nation thought last night.
Yeah, I mean, basketball is obviously all about March Madness and the tournament, and it appears as if they lucked out and should have him back for this. But, I mean, shout out to Coach Golden and the rest of the team. I mean, that could be like a really deflating moment when you lose a star player like that early on. Yeah, and I mean, Mississippi State, I mean, they came into the game ranked number 22. They're no slouches. They're in the SEC. They're right in the race. Yeah. So, they didn't.
Did not miss a beat. By the way, for people that did not really see the game or follow the game, Florida trailed on the road last night at halftime by a point. Mississippi State had a halftime lead of 1 point. Condon, Florida's big man, was out of the game. 30 seconds in, he twisted his ankle. He's out of the game. So Florida, and that was a tough arena last night. Mississippi State's, like you said, ranked 22nd. They're a good basketball team. They're going to March Madness. A lot of things were going Mississippi State's way. Florida opened up the second half. I don't know if you saw it, Zach. The Gators, down 1 at halftime, opened up the second half, a 17-0 run.
Yeah.
And the game was over.
Yeah. I mean, good teams take care of business no matter what the circumstance is. I mean, so, I mean, that was just another box they've checked.
Yeah, game was over. I will say this. I'm going to give you good news, bad news for Gator basketball. Good news for Gator basketball right now, even with the Alex Condon injury, okay? Right now, as we sit here broadcasting the Young and Norvelle show on Action Sports Jacks, the good news, I truly think right now, Florida is playing the best basketball of any team in the country.
I mean, yeah, it's hard to argue against that, getting the win on the road against Auburn.
I think they're playing the best team in the best basketball in the country right now. The bad news is March Madness doesn't start until the third weekend in March. You want to be playing your best basketball the third week, right? But, man, Florida's playing good basketball.
Well, maybe this is where they could take a step back, and then they can recover and be playing their best in March.
Maybe. By the way, that was a deep thought I just gave people. Look at there.
There you go.
That was a deep thought. But seriously, good news. I think Florida's playing the best basketball in the country right now, including Auburn, including Duke, including all the SEC. But you want to be playing the best basketball starting that third. Remember, the third weekend in March is round one. The next weekend in March is Elite Eight, Final Four, and then boom, you want to play that first weekend in April. So, you look back at Florida, and obviously we cover the Gators. I follow Florida. The Auburn win was huge the other day. Obviously, the nation saw it. Auburn had not lost at home. They were almost unbeatable at home. Florida goes in there. They were down Alijah Martin. By the way, Florida won last night, missing 2 starters. Alijah Martin didn't play. Second game in a row. Florida goes into Auburn. Remember, I don't think people remember well. Let me bring this back to light. 4, maybe 5 minutes into the Auburn game, Florida-Auburn last Saturday in Auburn, Auburn had a 10-point. They were up 15-5. Auburn was up 10 points at home on Florida without Alijah Martin from that millisecond on last Saturday all the way through the end of the game last night. I think Florida's played better than anybody in the country. They have played their guts out. They've gotten new depth. They've gotten guys stepping up. Now, Florida needs Alex Condon. The Gators are not going to win the national championship, in my opinion, in college basketball without Alex Condon back in the lineup. Would you agree with that? They need Alex Condon.
I mean, definitely a staple of March Madness that gets rehashed every year. Everyone says you need elite guard play to win the tournament. And I mean, it's been said and drilled in my head so many times that I feel like it must be true. So yeah, I mean, they're going to need that guy.
Yeah, they're going to need Condon. Condon he can play the 5, which is the center role. He's a 4. He is a true 4. He's a power forward. He's an athletic power forward. He can shoot. He's got great footwork around the basket. Don't look now, though. Thomas Houck, the other kid that's almost a clone of Alex Condon. Houck, his game is changing. He's becoming a really big-time player. But anyway, last night, the millisecond that Alex Condon went down and again, Zach, I don't know if you saw it, he's on the floor, and his facial expression is, oh, my God.
Yeah, one of those where you know immediately that something ain't right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he went down, I, along with the Gator Nation, went, oh, my goodness, sometime the sports gods. Well, it came out that it might not be as severe as you think. A low ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain. We'll talk to Dr. Bates about it. And they took x-rays, and the x-rays were negative. So it looks like just some rehab time. The Gators have some time. Here's Florida's next 4. And it's hard to do this in the SEC because the SEC is so damn talented this year, top to bottom. Florida's next 4 games, they're 21-3. They're ranked 3rd or 2nd, depending on the poll. Okay, Florida, they played last night. They don't play tonight. Okay, tonight's the Wednesday game. Florida's next game is Saturday at home against South Carolina. They should win that game. They've already beaten South Carolina. South Carolina gave them hell, by the way, in Columbia. But Florida should win this Saturday against South Carolina at home. They then play Tuesday, Oklahoma at home in Gainesville. Oklahoma is one of those teams fighting for a spot, but Florida should win that game. Florida then will play at LSU. LSU's 1-9 right now in conference play. That is in the Pete Maravich Center. That is in Baton Rouge. But Florida's got then LSU, and then they're away at Georgia. That could be a dicey game. Georgia's trying to win their way in. But Florida has 4 games coming up in conference play, which is hard to do this year, against 4 teams not ranked. Nobody is ranked in those 4. It's not inconceivable. Florida goes 4-0. They're right now, Zach, 21-3. They could be 25-3. They go to Alabama. They've yet to play Alabama. They're at Alabama. The Gators right now are in a really sweet spot. They could lose a game or 2, and I think the worst, if Florida doesn't just come off the rails, I think the worst Florida will get is a 2 seed in March Madness. Maybe a 1 seed, but a 2 seed, Zach.
Potentially, yeah. There's a decent chance they drop one of these games in Condon's
Absolutely.
absence. But even so, they can eat one of those.
Yeah.
Alabama is one of only 4 teams that the Hard Rock app has with better odds to win the whole tournament than the Gators. Duke, Auburn, Houston being the other 3.
Duke, Auburn, Houston. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Florida's at plus 1,300 if anybody's interested. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to come down to being the best you can be when March happens. I think they've already accomplished enough to get a high enough seed to accomplish what they want to do. They just want to just somehow get through all these games healthy, get through the SEC tournament healthy, and then just see how it plays out.
And by the way, you just mentioned a phrase, SEC tournament, men's basketball SEC tournament. Man, I'm sorry, Greg Sankey, but I'm going to tell you right now, you can see this from a mile away. The men's basketball SEC tournament in Nashville, which encompasses Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That Sunday is Selection Sunday, right? And we're talking 3-4 weeks down the road, but it's not far down the road. If you are the big boys of the conference, Florida, Auburn, Alabama, and I don't know if we put A&M now or Tennessee in, but if you're at least the 3 big boys, Greg Sankey doesn't want to hear this. You don't give a rat's ass about the SEC tournament. You get a double bye, so you will not play until Friday, no matter what, if you're one of the top 4.
Yeah.
But if you're Florida, if you're Auburn, if you're Alabama, and then even A&M may need a win or 2, Tennessee may need whoever that 4th is, you don't. Hey, right now, as a Gator fan, and I love my Florida Gators, Zach, you know that. I would be absolutely ecstatic if Florida won a game in Nashville on Friday, because the top 4 get double byes, right?
Right.
The top 4 do not play on Wednesday or Thursday; they play Friday. I would be ecstatic if Florida won a game on Friday night and lost on Saturday and got on a plane and went to hell home. I would be fine with that.
Are the college teams allowed to use the phrase load management?
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like there might be a lot of that just sneakily with a different term glossed over it.
Yeah. And you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me, and you can respect this because South Carolina baseball historically has been really good. I mean, they went back-to-back with Ray Tanner. This reminds me of SEC baseball tournament. When they get together in Hoover, I mean, hell, the last 3 or 4 years, Tennessee's been the number 1 overall team, and LSU's really good, and Florida's. And you know what? You're like, the SEC baseball tournament for the big 4, maybe 5 teams, A&M, Arkansas, LSU, South Carolina, Florida, it's been nothing more than a jamboree.
Yeah.
You know, you get your pitching set. And I don't know what the answer is with basketball or baseball, but I'm telling you, man, if you're Todd Golden, and I give him, if Todd Golden is sitting right here, and he's going, damn, this show is really good. This guy, Terry, really knows what he's talking about. If Todd Golden's sitting right here at this table, and I say, Todd, okay, your team's not going to just lose a bunch of games, okay? They're going to hang around. They're going to win. They're going to lose one, maybe two the rest of the way, and they get to Nashville. You're going to be 24-5 with big wins, 2 wins over the national number 1 team in the country, both Tennessee and Auburn. Todd, would you be okay? You don't really want to lose your first game and be 0-1, but would you be okay winning Friday, losing Saturday, getting on a plane, being in Gainesville? I think he would take that and run to the house.
Yeah, I think they all would, and all the top teams would.
They can't say it publicly, right?
It's almost like how all these with the expansions and the playoffs and in the conferences, there needs to be some type of reworking because the same thing's going to happen in football, the same thing's happening in baseball. The conference tournaments and championships are just becoming irrelevant all around.
Yeah.
They just need to do something different. And they almost need to make it where it's the bubble teams just playing each other.
It's funny you said that. I thought of that today, and I go, well, that'd be hard if you could say, well, only seeds 5 through 16 show up.
Yeah.
That would be hard, but you're right. Your theory is right. A team like Texas A&M, with Tennessee losing last night, Texas A&M is trying to supersede Tennessee. Texas A&M is 8th in the country, right? Tennessee's lost 6 of their last 11 games. They're 6-5 their last 11 games. So a team like Texas A&M, they actually could use 2 wins in the SEC. But for the most part, you're right, Zach. The conference tournaments, and we've seen it now. We've seen it in baseball. We've seen it in basketball. The conference tournaments, even the conference football SEC championship game. I mean, there's going to be periods coming up, I think, soon where you go, damn, wait a minute. We're 10-2. It's almost like I don't want to play in the SEC championship game and maybe go 10-3 and get edged out.
Yeah, you almost want to either be the first team or the third team in football. You don't want to be that second.
Yeah,
but that's where things get dicey, and it feels like that shouldn't be the case. It feels like the second seed should be rewarded. But
I agree.
I don't know. I hate to be God that just points out problems and doesn't offer solutions.
I do too. I hate that. And I think you and I have worked many years, and you've heard me say that, and I've heard you say that. I hate when I I hate XYZ. I like to have an answer. Sometimes you don't. And you know what? It's fair that you don't and I don't have an answer because I don't think Greg Sankey has an answer.
Yeah.
And Greg Sankey's making about $40 million to have an answer.
Right. I mean, what if you just made it like the NFL Pro Bowl? When the team gets selected for the tournament, they get to just say, send my alternate in, not going. And then the team just individually gets to decide if it would help them to win or benefit them or be bad to lose. They get to weigh the pros and cons of it.
Yeah, definitely. But it is tough. As we break, last night, a lot of great games in the SEC. Florida went on the road, held serve. Big win for the Gators, particularly with the injury situation. Big win. How about Kentucky fighting off Tennessee? That's a big win for Kentucky. Big loss for Tennessee. Auburn did Auburn things. They fought off Vanderbilt. I thought the big loser last night was Tennessee. Boy, Tennessee, they stumbled. They've been swept by Kentucky. And don't look now. Tennessee, as good a season as you had, you were 14-0. You were number 1 in the nation for multiple weeks. Tennessee has their last 11 games, they're like 6-5. Tennessee, ugly loss. They've been swept by Kentucky, home and road. Big loss for Tennessee. All right, when we come back, I want to get into some Jaguar talk. The Jaguars, boy, they have a lot of self-evaluation that they need to do. I'll explain that in my opinion. And we know Indiana basketball, that coaching job is open. That is a blue blood. It might appear that North Carolina basketball, men's basketball, that job might be open because Hubert Davis, it appears, is not the guy. I've got a couple names to throw in if those bluest of blue bloods are looking for college basketball coaches, Indiana and North Carolina. That and a whole lot more. Stay right there. Terry Norvelle and you coming back on the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports Jax.
At Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, we know pain and injuries can stop you from doing what you love. This is why our board-certified orthopedic specialists offer the latest in both non-surgical and surgical treatment options and create a treatment plan tailored to your unique lifestyle and goals. So, whether it is a sports injury or that nagging pain that's keeping you from doing what you love, our team has the right treatment for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
The Action Sports Jax 24/7 network is streaming. I'm Stuart Weber, and I'm here to teach you a nice three-step process on how you can watch all your favorite programming from the Brent and Austin Show every weekday 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. or the Cup Date with me. It's fantastic. We talk NASCAR. It's a great time. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock. All right, first step, easy. Download the Action News Jax app. You probably already have it downloaded on your phone, so you might already have that one taken care of. Step 2, see that stack of pancakes up there? You click that stack of pancakes, and it's going to bring down step number 3, which is a full screen of all the different streams that you can click on, including the Action Sports Jax 24/7 stream. You click that, the video's rocking and rolling on your mobile device. You're watching all the shows you want to, and you're having a good time. You can also do it on your smart TV with the Action News Jax Now app. I do it on my Samsung TV at home. It's a great way to watch it on a nice, large screen for all the content. That's the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Hope you can find it.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Maybe you need a new tankless water heater or something a bit more intricate. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242 or cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 143-2579.
All right, Zach Rothrock, we're going to need you to jump in here as we welcome you back to a Wednesday edition, the Young and Norvelle Show, coming to you from the studio right here on Action Sports Jack. Zach Rothrock, we need you to jump in. Jaguar talk, a little bit of Jaguar talk. Here's my take. I want to kick around, and obviously we've got a bunch of months. We've got the draft coming up. We got the combine. We've got the draft. We've got free agency. We've got transition tags and franchise tags, maybe, blah, 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 blah. We have a lot of stuff in the offseason. All right. Here's my thought. Liam Cohen, the new staff, the Kitty staff that he's put together, Tony Baselli, 52 years old, a rookie at big time. Okay, we know the staff. Here's the first thing that you, Jaguar fan, should be hoping for, and you got to hope that the Jaguar staff hits a home run. The first thing Liam Cohen and his staff have to do is correctly, and hear this word, correctly self-evaluate. Are you digesting that? Correctly. Now, but what do I mean by that? Okay, you've heard me say for years, Zach Rothrock, when you're a bad NFL franchise, the Jaguars have been bad. They were 4-13. You can say all you want, well, that's not a 4-win team, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can also say, well, that wasn't a 9-win team a couple of years. Okay, so all that balances out. Liam Cohen and his group, the first thing they have to do is correctly self-evaluate, because you can't fix everything in one offseason.
Unless you're the Commanders.
Right, okay. and I'll believe that when I see that.
They went a long way in one offseason.
The Jaguars doing that. I'll believe.
I understand.
I'll believe the Jaguars.
Yeah.
When I say you have to correctly self-evaluate, by that I mean, what are there? And I'm not going to count them up, but I think there are like 7 football position units, right? Offensive line is one unit. Defensive line, secondary, quarterback, running back, right? There are like 7 position units that make up a football team.
Right, depending on what you do with the tight end. I don't really know what they do.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Receiver, extra receiver, blah, blah, blah. There are basically 7 position units. The Jaguars, cut it, slice it, dice it, they're 4-13. They've got a lot of holes. The first thing you have to do, you can't fix it all with 6 or 7 draft choices and whatever you do in free agency. There's too many holes. With that said, you need to say, okay, what are there areas that we can live with without trying to bolster? Because we've got so many holes. There's so many holes in the dike. Yeah. Water's leaking out. Okay?
I mean, I can tell you what my first year plan would definitely be to just reconstruct the offensive line. I want to spend as many assets as I can building that offensive line. Picks, players that don't want to be here, et cetera. And I don't know how realistic it is. I mean, obviously, you can't just say, like, I want to draft Jonathan Ogden round 1 and just have him be our left tackle for 15 years.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, right. You got to be realistic.
Do you have his number?
Right. Right. But I mean, that would be my mentality would be, I want us to spend as many assets as we can, do everything we can to make that O-line as good as we can.
Yes. Now, let me back you up. Jaguar Nation may not want to hear this, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Zach, but I don't think 2025 the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to have a big year. I think, and if I'm Liam Cohen, I'm not trying to mortgage to try and win 7 or 8 games this year. I think my approach would be, this is a get as many dots, as many I's dotted and T's crossed as I can. Sure. Are you in that ballpark, or do you think, hell no, Jaguars need to win and get in the playoffs right now no matter what? Where are you at on that?
I think I'm somewhere in the middle with that, but since you're kind of playing the role of pessimist, I'll play the role of optimist here. And, I mean, I'll say, if you do find a way to reconstruct that offensive line, it could really be a force multiplier. It could if you give Trevor Lawrence an average of 1 extra second per play and allow him to actually read a defense, I mean, the guy can throw a football. He has an elite arm. He does. He's got all the tools. He can move. He's athletic. He's got to get his confidence back. He's lost his confidence. I mean, I feel like he just needs structure, stability, and he can get back to that point he wants to be. And on defense, I think you just got to do everything you can do to build around Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen is a piece.
I love it.
Just like how on an offense,
I love it.
Brian Thomas Jr. is a piece. He's the Ferrari. You don't need to get another Ferrari. You need to get meat and potatoes.
It's like you're in my incredible knowledgeable JU education brain. It's like that. But
How about that?
If you're the Jacksonville Jaguars and you do what we just talked about, if you are smart enough, Liam Cohen and staff, to self-evaluate, you got to kind of pick and choose. Okay, what areas? Okay, I'm not saying these areas are spit-shined perfect and you don't have to worry about them, but you know what? When you're trying to rebuild a franchise, you can't do it all. Okay, so here are the ones I would say, the position units. If you're the Jaguars and you self-evaluate, you go, okay, man, we can't do it all in 1 year. Let's just put these to the side. Quarterback. You with me there?
I am.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
Number 1 wide receiver. Not wide receiver as a whole, but number 1 wide receiver. And defense. I'm going to say defensive line. You may say, what are you talking? Well, you've got Josh Hines-Allen and you've got Trayvon Walker. I still, to this day, Trayvon Walker, if I was your defensive coordinator, he would be a interior defensive lineman with his hand on the ground. Now, he's undersized, but I would use his athleticism. But anyway, those are the 3. I would go, okay, we can't fix everything. I'm going to roll with the punches at quarterback, number 1 wide receiver, and defensive line. Not saying I don't think they couldn't use an interior defensive lineman. I would move Walker. Now, with that said, the opposite, Zach Rothrock, my red flag, you've got to get better. Red flag, this light is going off. Red flag, red flag. I don't care if it's draft, free agency, offensive line.
Yes.
I think their secondary is terrible.
They definitely have room for lots of improvement.
Next, I would say offensive line. That tells you where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Offensive line, secondary, offensive line. And I don't think their linebackers are worth a damn.
The whole defense, I mean,
I think the back 7
I
is,
singled out Josh Allen for a reason because he is the shining savior on the defense.
Yes. That's where now hopefully if our report card is right, hopefully Liam Cohen sees that same thing. You just can't fix everything. You just cannot fix. If they don't fix, I think the offensive line could be all sent to Hades, if you know what I mean. And I know you can't really do that. I don't think they have much of anything salvageable on the offensive line. What say you, Zach Rothrock?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to do a whole hockey line shift.
I agree.
I agree. But I mean, if you can replace 3 of those guys, that would be amazing. If you do 2, I think you're doing something. So it's a process. And like you say, it can't be done and it can't be done overnight. It literally cannot. But there can be things in place, and the division is so bad. You really could compete for. You could win 10 games next year. There's no reason why they can't. There's really not.
I know. And you look around at, will the Titans be smart enough to leverage they've got number 1, right?
They do.
Will they be smart enough? I'll tell you a team, and this is getting out of the AFC South. Right. I'll tell you a team that intrigues the hell out of me, if they're smart enough, is Cleveland at number 2. Think about Cleveland.
Well, I think the Patriots are 2, yeah. They're way up there.
Where's Cleveland?
I'm looking.
They're really high.
They are. They're top 5 for sure. Yeah. Probably top 3. They probably are number 3.
Look up Cleveland. I think Cleveland, if they do something smart.
I know they are too. My bad.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Here's my thought on Cleveland, and I don't know anything about their front office or are they smart enough. How about Cleveland? They're sitting at number 2. Okay, we know there are 2 quarterbacks that most people that are quarterback needy want.
Yeah.
So 2, even if 1 goes quarterback, even if the Titans go one of the Cam Ward or Shador.
Those are the
Okay, there's still 1 sitting there.
Yeah.
Why I'm intrigued with Cleveland is they have the number 2 freaking pick. If they can play that right, and their superstar has come out and said, I want to leave.
Yeah.
Their superstar is Myles Garrett. And he said, hey, man, and you know what? Because he came out and said it, they didn't cut him. They didn't say hit the bricks. That's going to keep that franchise, I think, together more. So what if they do a deal with Myles Garrett and do a deal with that number 2 pick? They could get good quick.
They could and should, because their Deshaun Watson contract has just set the whole franchise back 5-10 years.
Now
they might as well compile.
Now, if they trade out to get players at 2,
they're going to ruin Shedeur Sanders' career if they draft him.
And what do they do at quarterback? If they trade out, you can't draft one of the 2 quarterbacks.
I would just run Deshaun Watson back out there and get the number 1 overall pick next year.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, why
but
not?
Cleveland, the Browns intrigue the hell out of me. They intrigue because of their superstar has voluntarily come out and said, hey, I love my time here. I was a Brown. You know what? I'm starting to get the back half of my – so I want to get out.
Yeah, he's ready to get to a contender, which I understand.
He said that, so you're not going to fracture your entire franchise. You're not going to have – can you imagine?
Oh, that franchise is beyond fractured.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fans aren't calling every day going, what the hell's management doing? No, he's asked to leave.
Yeah.
He's leaving. So you could package that crazy high draft pick and that great – he's still a great player.
Yeah.
He's still a great player.
He's a defensive player of the year worthy.
Yeah, that is intriguing. But, boy, I hope the Jaguars, where we're going with this, where we led this segment off, and we'll take a break here in a second. We hope to have Brent Beaird at the top of the hour. I hope the Jaguars, and let me back up. I worry a little bit. Liam Cohen's a young dude, man. He's a 39-year-old. When you're 39 in the NFL, that's young. You know what? I know the league. I'm the head coach. His coordinator's 42. His other coordinator's 31, 17. Tony Baselli's 52. I think the Jaguars got to be careful with those decision makers, understanding that 2025 is probably not going to be a big year.
Yeah.
Don't mortgage 26, 27, 28 for dumb decisions in 2025. Does that make any sense?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't want to end up like the Browns. I mean, the Browns have picked in the top 10 more than any other team since 2000, and I don't see them getting out of that position anytime soon.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's kind of you're closer to them than you are the Eagles and Chiefs right now.
What the hell do the Titans do?
I feel like they're getting Cam Ward. It feels to me like that's what's happening. I've heard people tease Travis Hunter and play him mostly.
But they're going quarterback, you think?
I think so.
And they're going to hand the guy the ball.
I think so.
And you know what? From a Jaguars perspective, you're like, okay, I can live with that, because you got to believe if they get Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, they don't have enough around him. That's not going to be a huge season.
No, they don't have elite receiver
right?
or anything.
So the Titans are mortgaging next year a little bit. You're fine with that if you're the Jaguars, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, and I think Cam Wharton. I think he's the best quarterback prospect in the draft. I think he's significantly better than Shedeur Sanders. That's just me personally, though. But yeah, even with that, I mean, you throw that guy to the Wolves with that Titans roster.
Is your thought on Cam versus Shedeur busted play?
So honestly,
I think Cam Ward is really good in a busted play.
Yeah, and I like the improvisational quarterback.
Yeah.
I heard someone compare him to Nikola Jokic in the NBA, and I just can't get that out of my head. Just how he just kind of he's all slow and smooth, and like, it's like the game is real slow for him.
Yeah,
and I'm interested to see if he can play that way in the NFL, because if he can, I think he's going to tear it up.
That's interesting, man. Because when you watch Big Boy Jokic, you're like,
he doesn't move at all, but I mean, and yet he's a walking bucket. He's stopping everything. He's finding open players, doing all the passes.
And that's like there are certain players in athletics that you read their bio and you go, man, this guy's Zach Rothrock. He's 6'6", 240 pounds, and he runs a 4.41. But you go,
God.
But you go,
that's Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, but you go, he never looks like he's running fast. Well, that's Jokic.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? You go, how does he outrun people? Well, Jokic does that. You go, how does that ugly shot go in?
I think that's
30
Cam
feet?
Ward. I think that's Cam Ward too, and I'm interested to see what he's going to do.
Yeah. Do you know? This is a little college football. The Cam Ward equivalent this year, and I don't know if I did a good job explaining that. there's a blue blood college football program that is praying to God they just portaled the new Cam Ward as Miami portaled Cam Ward from Washington State. Remember, Cam Ward was at Washington State, good player.
Honestly, did not know that.
Yeah, he came from Washington State. Oklahoma has signed Jake Meteer, I think his name is, Meeter, from Washington State. So Oklahoma, who needs a quarterback.
Oh, God, that Jackson Arnold was
He was terrible,
tough.
wasn't he? And they're praying to God this Jake Meteer
I think it's John Meteer.
John, whatever his name is. They're praying he's this year's Cam Ward. He's this year's Cam. My God, Cam Ward hit the ground. What a great player he was in college football. Just a great player.
Oh, yeah. I think that Miami's taking a significant step back
I'm with
this
you.
year. I don't think Carson Beck is anywhere near the talent that Cam
I just
Ward
don't
is.
know. I don't know where, and this may be so unfair for me to say about Carson Beck at Miami this year. Cam Ward gave you so much busted play yardage.
Yeah.
I mean, busted play. Now, he made a million great throws, and Miami, because of his throws, ran underneath that. But, my God, do you remember how many plays he saved?
Oh, yeah, and it's effortless. He just steps up in the pocket. He's about to get sacked, effortlessly flicks his wrist, is 40 yards downfield to the wide open, number 7 most of the time?
Respo or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that the quarterback of the future in the NFL?
I mean, I think that there's taking a turn. Everyone wants this improvisational, this Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, because I believe that the thought process is you can teach that guy to play from the pocket and do the Tom Brady stuff, but you can never teach Tom Brady to do the Patrick Mahomes stuff. I think that's the logic. And I mean, obviously, you can be extremely successful playing from the pocket, and Brady won 7 Super Bowls, but it kind of limits your ceiling from what you can do in any particular play.
But yeah, I mean, Cam Ward's game is much closer to modern day Patrick Mahomes than Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
he looks a very. I mean, I kind of hate the phrase Mahomes-like because I feel like it's overused, but I mean, he does that improvisational style with a strong arm.
Yeah,
not the fastest, but can move.
Yeah. Did you see? As we go to break, did you see? I guess the day after the Super Bowl, I guess it was Monday, after the Super Bowl, the ESPN Power Poll came out, and we saw Philadelphia just beat the snot out of Kansas City. Did you see who ESPN's Power Poll had number 1 team 2025?
I did not, but I saw the odds makers had the Ravens.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a little disrespectful, but sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have had the Eagles number 1.
How do you feel as we go to break? What do you think? How ugly is Friday's 1 million expected visitors for the Eagles celebration parade? Oh, my God.
I can only imagine, because last time they were eating horse feces in the street. I can only hope that doesn't happen this time.
Oh, my God. I'm just thinking, can you imagine the arrest warrants you could serve?
They don't got time to fill out all that paperwork.
That million people.
It'll be until the year 2300 before they finish all that paperwork.
I think they should just say, and we're kidding here, okay? We're kidding here. I think they should just move that celebration this Friday, like to Gitmo.
I feel like there's a punchline to Gitmo. What is Gitmo?
Gitmo is the place they're sending the bad people we're trying to get out of our country.
They Gitmo over there?
Yeah, Guantanamo Bay, you know. Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Harold Kumar had to eat that sandwich at Guantanamo Bay. That was tough.
Ooh.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a break. He is Zach Rothrock. I'm Terry Norvelle. We hope to hear from Brent Beaird and maybe Patric Young. He's in studio in Charlotte with his SEC basketball duties. Patrick will be on during halftime of the games tonight. We'll get back into some basketball. What a win for Florida. Wow, what about the Gators, the way they're playing? We'll also hopefully talk to Dr. Aaron Bates, our Southeast orthopedic specialist, sports medicine discussion, and it'll be a heavy dose of Gator basketball. Alijah Martin, boy, the hip pointer, 2 games he's missed. What is the turnaround time on a hip pointer? And, of course, last night, Alex Condon, the big man for Florida, goes down with what is described as a low ankle sprain. X-rays were negative. We'll talk to Dr. Bates about those 2 injuries and a lot more on the second hour of the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports Jacks.
For those dealing with pain from a sports injury, arthritis, or spine condition, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists offers innovative new non-surgical options. Our regenerative medicine treatments, including platelet-rich plasma and other regenerative treatments, use your body's own restorative cells to aid in treating injuries. These procedures are performed in our offices and typically require minimal downtime. If you want to get back to doing what you love, our regenerative treatment options may be right for you. For more information or to schedule an appointment online, visit our website.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
Since 1936, Procter Ace has been proudly helping Jacks with all your home and garden projects. Whether you need tools, paint, plumbing supplies, or expert advice, we've got what you need to get the job done right. Looking to brighten your yard? Visit our garden center for plants, tools, and everything to make your outdoor space flourish. You're not just shopping here, you're part of our community. So come in today and let us help you tackle your next project with a smile. After all,
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
When I say it means something to me, gentlemen, it means something to me.
High school football is back and it's bigger than ever. Welcome to the Friday Night Zone Blitz.
It is bigger than a game.
Watch the biggest games each week live as the action unfolds with instant reaction and analysis from our Hall of Famer, Kevin Sullivan. It starts with live look-ins at the top matchups, including our Jaguars Prep Whataburger Game of the Week, and that is just the beginning of 4 straight hours of coverage. From 8 to 10:30, the Friday Night Zone Blitz is streaming on our Action News Jax app and online. At 10:30, the Friday Night Blitz you know and love. A half hour of highlights from around the area. 11 o'clock, we shine the spotlight on the bands that pump up the crowd. 11:15, it's time to blitz through the highlights online and on air. Then 11:35, back to the stream to break down the night's results with a reaction from local coaches. 4 straight hours of high school football on the Friday Night Zone Blitz. Only on Action Sports Jacks 24/7.
Baker Sports is local sports. Uniforms from Pop Warner and Little League to travel ball, high school, and college. They make you look good. They help you play good. Baker Sports has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime with their Baker's Buckets. We've got a lot of these filled with baseballs and softballs in the garage. I've been throwing batting practice to Ty and Kaylee for years and also sit on the Baker's Bucket, catching Kaylee while she practices her pitching. Baker Sports is homegrown, and a lot of employees that used to play on local ball fields now work for Baker Sports, now helping you look good, play good, and make memories of your own. Visit Bakersport.com to see what Baker Sports can do for you. Custom apparel, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, embroidery, screen printing, and more. Baker Sports is local sports from Jacksonville to anywhere in the Southeast. Bakersport.com.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Zach Rothrock, we welcome you back here. Our producer, Zach. I'm Terry Norvelle on a Wednesday Hump Day edition. Busy Hump Day edition here in February. Coming to you live from Action Sports Jacks. Zach, hopefully, if this is true, I think female in question is okay. Don't want to make light of this at all, but Zach Rothrock, Young Joka. You know who Young Joka is, right?
I am familiar with that name, yeah.
Young Joka is the rap name of Kadarius Toney, former, and I'm going to say great Gator wide receiver. Kadarius Toney's 2 years at Florida, and I think he was a Mullen recruit.
Yeah.
He was there. It was Kyle Pitts. It was Kyle Trask and Kadarius Toney. Those three guys made up, as in terms of skill position, and I think Dameon Pierce, who, by the way, is a running back in the NFL.
Yeah, Mullen really did bring in some very talented players.
Really did. Florida was very close. They played Alabama in the SEC championship game to a 52-46 loss.
Yeah.
If they won, they're playing for the national title. That was a really good period of Gator football, Gator offense. Kadarius Toney, his first year, he was kind of a jack of all trades. His second year, he was unguardable.
Mm-hmm.
He made plays after play. First-round draft pick, I believe, right?
He was.
First-round draft pick. Goes to Kansas City, wins not one but 2 Super Bowls, I think, with Kansas City. He had defining plays in a couple of those Super Bowls. He had a huge punt return. I think it was 65 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He had a catch. He had a touchdown. He made big plays.
Yeah, I think he won the game-winning play on that, what they call the corn dog motion, where he goes left, goes back right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Nice little simple catch, but he's a quick guy.
Oh, yeah.
Kadarius Toney, the world at its tail, right? I mean, he had the world by the tail. TMZ reporting that former, I guess, NFL, Kadarius Toney arrested. Cops say he strangled a woman. Oh, Kadarius. 2-time Super Bowl champion Kadarius Toney arrested last week over allegations he strangled a woman, according to TMZ Sports has learned. According to the police documents obtained, the former Kansas City wide receiver was accused of putting his hands around a woman's throat during a dispute at a Georgia residence on January 14th, so a couple weeks ago, and squeezing with enough force to cause her to be unable to breathe. Blah, 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 blah. We go on and on. Come on, young Joker. Come on, kid. Number one, I hope the woman's okay. I hope the description is worse than the actuality. My God, I can imagine going through that. Somebody that you would imagine is physically stronger than you, putting their hands around your throat, that you breathe with. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Kadarius Toney, come on, young Joker. Where are you going? You got the world by the tail.
Yeah, and I typically like to, when these stories break, I kind of try to give people the benefit of the doubt and say they're innocent until proven guilty. But, I mean, kind of given his history and all this and that, I feel like he probably did do this, and he's probably going to face really serious consequences for it.
Oh, additionally, authorities wrote in the documents Toney took the woman's phone from her during the altercation in order to prevent her from calling 911. You can't do that. You can't do that. Warrants for Toney's arrest were issued on January 15th, and jail records obtained. We obtained, this is TMZ, showed the 26-year-old was thrown behind bars in Douglas County, in a Douglas County facility on February 6th, on one charge of aggravated assault, strangulation, and one charge of obstructing, harassing 911 calls. The records show the 26-year-old's bond was set at $25,000. You look at a guy like Kadarius Toney, you go, my man, hopefully you can get some help. Somebody helps you. The word is, and we kid around, his rap name is Young Joker, right? But to take it a step further, I remember looking into this 3, 4, 5 years ago, even when he was at Florida. He wasn't just a guy that went around and saying, hey, man, I'm a rap star. I play football. No, the word is an accomplished rap star. I mean, he was talented at that aspect of his life as well. He wasn't just but my goodness, you've got athletics, you've got entertainment. How many more chances do you want, young Joker?
Yeah, I think that he's unfortunately ran out of chances.
You would think.
He probably won't get back into it as I get ready to preview a little bit of young Joker.
Is this one of his songs? And Kansas City tried to bring him back. Remember that?
Oh yeah, because they need a dynamic playmaker.
And I mean, he was stepping in for Tyreek, right? They thought he would be the next Tyreek.
Yeah, they basically thought they would swap out Tyreek Hill for Kadarius
and save a little money. Same kind of player, save a little money.
Deal for a couple of years.
And then if Tony turned out to be the next Tyreek, okay, go shop yourself, or we can pay for you. But my goodness, don't you feel bad? Number one, for the woman, if she went through this traumatic situation.
Yeah.
But my goodness, Kadarius Toney. I remember, I think he was a Mullen recruit at Florida. He's from Alabama, and obviously very talented. Cat quick, change of direction, really fast, a troublemaker to guard. But if I remember his recruitment, Alabama and Auburn didn't jump all over him. He didn't really have a position. He's a little guy, right?
Yeah, shifty, small guy.
Yeah. So Florida takes a flyer on him. And he turns out to be a star. I mean, his 2 years as a star at Florida, I mean, he made people look stupid.
Yeah. He always reminded me on the field of Percy Harvin.
I agree.
Just that lightning quick, and anytime he touches the ball, he can take it to the house. And so, yeah, it's really sad to see his career take a turn, because he's the type of guy that I like. Those are my favorite type of players. The guys that can just outrun everybody.
Yeah, I like those guys.
Yeah, they're the most entertaining and all this and that. So I was always rooting for him. But yeah,
and you, obviously you follow SEC football as much as anybody. When Tony was at Florida, those 2 years when he was a star. I mean, he was a star.
Oh yeah,
at Florida. There were times he made moves and made cuts. My knee hurt watching him. You're like, my God.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get drafted number 21 overall with that height without being an amazing superstar.
I mean, what was he? If you maxed him out, 5'9.5", 5'10", 180, 185?
That sounds about right. I don't know what we're officially listed at.
They listed him at 6'1", probably 205. Kadarius Toney was about 5'9.5", 5'10", probably 190.
Yeah, listed at 6 foot, but I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, Kadarius, young joker, get it together, my man. Get it together. All right, bro. Let's take a break. We think Brent Beaird will join us in a little bit. Hopefully, Patric Young. Pat obviously tied up with his SEC Basketball Network work tonight. Pat will be on during halftime of all the games on the SEC Network. Follow him. Let's get back into some SEC basketball. And I've got to give you my two names. I've got two names for what I think will be not one but two blue blood jobs opening up. We know Indiana basketball is open. They're going to fire Mike Woodson. It's been announced. I'm not so sure North Carolina is not looking for a new basketball coach. Hubert Davis hasn't been the answer. That hasn't been announced. But I'm going to take you on a behind the scenes, my thoughts on who could fill, if I was filling those spots, who my first couple of calls would be. North Carolina basketball, Indiana basketball, two of the bluest of blue bloods. We'll talk about that in hour number 2, the Young and Norvelle Show on Action Sports Jacks.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jax to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jax in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jax 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jax 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
The headphones. There we go. Oh, there we go. Hey, unfortunately, we enjoy our visit with Dr. Aaron Bates from Southeast Orthopedics Specialist, but unfortunately, we got to talk two Gators sports injuries as we welcome Dr. Bates in. Doc, how you doing, my friend? We don't hear Dr. Bates. Let's see if we can hear Dr. Bates. Zach, going once, going twice. After that, great. There we go. Doc, you there? Oh, boy. Zach will get him. He'll get you. Dr. Bates, hang tight. I know you're a professional. Just hang tight. Dr. Bates, obviously, hip pointer and low ankle sprain is what we're going to get to. Alijah Martin has missed not 1 but 2 games with a hip pointer. Doc, I think we've got you now. Let's see if we've got you fired up. Zach, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Is it on Doc's end or no?
Yeah.
It's Doc, we think it's on your end. I don't know. Talk louder. Can you scream? Can you sign language?
No.
Can you sign language? Uh-oh. We're going to see. Zach, what do you think? Does he need to hit his volume? All right, we're going to try and figure it out. Dr. Bates, we do this on Wednesdays. Dr. Aaron Bates from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Unfortunately, both of our major topics we want to talk about with Dr. Bates involve Gator basketball players. Alijah Martin, you probably know if you're a Gator fan. If you don't, Alijah Martin, the starting 2-guard, great player for Florida, one of their most integral players. He missed a chunk of game. What was it, a week ago, midweek? He missed some of the Vanderbilt game, left in the first half, had a hip pointer. I don't know if he banged another player. I can't remember how it happened. Came back into the Vanderbilt game in the second half and played. He missed the Auburn game this past Saturday, and he missed the Mississippi State game last night, which really surprised people because even Todd Golden, I think, expected Alijah Martin to play last night. I think we got Dr. Bates on. Doc, we're talking about Alijah Martin midweek a week ago, hip pointer. He missed a chunk of the game in the first half against Vanderbilt, came back and played the second half. Florida wins the game. Okay, the hip pointer did not respond, I guess, to treatment. Alijah Martin did not play at Auburn Saturday, but last night, going into the game, Todd Golden thought he was going to play. He missed a second game. I think I know what you're going to say about a hip pointer, but I want you to explain it. It's a bony area, right? And I think you're going to say blood flow is an issue. Talk about what goes into rehabbing a hip pointer.
Well, first of all, a hip pointer is an area of the hip called the ilium or iliac crest. It's an area where there's very thin tissue over top of the bone. So it's a direct blow to that area causes all that pain. You can kind of bleed over top of it.
Right.
And all that. And there's a lot of muscle attachments to that area. And so your trunk attachments or the muscles are there. So any twisting, turning, trunk rotation would affect it. And sometimes it can take 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to really recover enough so that you're functional.
So your movement, if I'm hearing you correctly, your physical movement, obviously a basketball player is up and down. They're using their entire body, jumping, running. Your movement, I think, is counterproductive because you're irritating that area, it sounds like. You're just continuing to irritate the area.
You can until it starts filling up a little bit, and then actually movement loosens it up somewhat.
Okay. What is it again? I've had that once or twice. That's a bony area. Is it a blood flow issue as well? You always talk about blood flow. Blood flow is good when it comes to rehabbing, right? Yeah, talk about that.
Yes. Well, also you obviously need blood flow to bring in nutrients for healing. And so anytime you can have more blood flow to an area that's injured, it's good.
What's the treatment?
Sometimes the blood flow gets disrupted, though.
Yeah.
In an area. And that's why it takes longer to heal.
What's the treatment? Obviously, not being physical helps. Obviously, is that ultrasound? Is that ice? Is that a little bit of everything? What is that?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into it. First of all, there's just rest from any inciting injury to that area. Once you have some period of rest, then there's a lot of icing and stretching, and also heat. So you do both kind of contrast, ice and heat. You can do ultrasound, you do E-stem. There's a lot of physical therapy things and athletic training modalities you can use to help heal that area.
I hate to say this because I don't want to disrespect other sports teams and other college teams. Boy, Florida, they just got through Auburn, the number one team in the nation. They had a huge win. Martin did not play. They got through last night. That was a snake. Even though Florida won big in the second half, that was a trap game. Mississippi State last night is a good basketball team. The crowd wanted to help Mississippi State, but Florida took them out in the second half. With that said, South Carolina, Oklahoma, LSU, and Georgia. The next four opponents for Florida, none of them are ranked. When you talk as a medical professional to a team, the head coach, the number one, I don't know, PT guy, do you look at the games coming up and go, well, do we want to get him all the way back, or you should win these games, or how does that translate to you're a medical professional? You don't really care that, well, you guys should beat South Carolina. Why don't you hold him out?
Right. As a team doc, we really don't get into that type of decision making, although we think about it.
Yeah.
Now, our job is to report back to the medical staff, like the athletic trainer and the coaches, what the status of the certain player is. Now, along with our input, then they can make a decision as to how they want to play someone or not play someone or limit their minutes or whatever.
Yeah. So, all you can do, I guess, is deliver your prognosis, right? And definitely. But obviously, you're always going to lean toward the patient.
Number one priority is the athlete and their well-being.
And not March Madness, not a 2 seed versus a 1 seed, right? Yeah. Definitely. I know the closest thing I got to a hip pointer, I think, I never really had a true hip pointer playing baseball. The closest thing I got, and I brought this up one time and I don't know if this is a great correlation. I was playing college baseball, left-handed batter, so my right leg is facing the pitcher. I got hit by pitch, right on the outside of the knee where it bends, right? Guy hit me right in the knee. And that damn thing, I guess the bruise and, middle infielder, I didn't want to miss any time. It never healed all year because I was constantly running and jumping and sliding and hitting. And it was just that area, there's nothing there other than skin and bone. It's very thin right there. I never could heal that damn thing.
Sure. Similar is when you bump your shin, like the front part of your leg.
Oh.
It lasts for a long time.
Oh, that hurts. I hate that. The old who moved the coffee table deal, right? Who moved the coffee table at night, and then you run into it. All right, Doc. The next injury, and I hate to stay with Florida basketball. By the way, Dr. Aaron Bates with Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. If you've got orthopedic needs, the best way to contact Dr. Bates, the good folks at Southeast Orthopedic Specialist, se-ortho.com. se-ortho.com. You can find all the offices. You can get some Q&A. You can go ahead and set up your evaluation. The best in the business, Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Doc, last night, the big man for Florida, Alex Condon, one of their big star post guys, he goes down very early, 30 seconds into the game last night at Mississippi State. A nasty ankle. Nobody knew. He went down, massive pain on his face. He goes down, out for the rest of the game. Reports toward the end of the game, and I'm assuming at the arena. I don't know if it was at the arena or they took him off premises real quick. X-ray on the ankle. The X-rays came back negative last night on Alex Condon, and he is a vital. If Florida's going to make a deep run, they need Alex Condon.
For sure.
The X-rays were negative, and they are now officially calling it a low ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain, which in the last 20 years, high ankle sprain in the sports vernacular is a nasty term.
Correct.
Low versus high, I don't know if you even saw the highlight or watched the game last night. Start dissecting what may be going on with Alex Condon and that low ankle sprain.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate injury. He kind of stepped on somebody's foot, had inversion injury to the ankle, which stretched out and sprained those ligaments to the outside part of the ankle, something called the lateral malleolus. And instead of it running up in between the two bones of the leg, the tibia and fibula, it kind of stayed low. Don't know if it reached the medial side or inside part of the ankle because I'm not privy to that information.
Right.
Sometimes you can have fractures. Obviously, that's ruled out with the X-ray. And so this is actually a good sign. Even though he was rolling around on the floor, sometimes it looks worse than it actually is. And once he starts some functional rehab, I think he may be back in a week or two.
So, again, you haven't put hands on this ankle and talked to him. Would you think, 2, maybe 3 weeks would be plenty of time to get this type of injury back to where he was at before the injury?
Yeah, it's possible. It just depends on the intensity of the sprain. Anytime you have a sprain of the ankle, sometimes you have some partial ligament tears, even though we call it a sprain. And they tend to heal up over time. But you can have swelling in the ankle for a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? What would cause something to swell for a year? I mean, for God's sakes, how would the body not have fixed that by now?
Well, the ankle and the foot, with gravity, that's the end part. And so everything flows down the hill. You can't always elevate your leg all day.
Yeah. Interesting. Makes a lot of sense. All right, Doc, we'll let you go on this. I don't know if you have anything for a bruised ego, but you and I don't think have visited since the Super Bowl. my goodness gracious, Kansas City, they got roughed up. Did you see that coming? And, I think we all – boy, it was almost a classic football game. If you get your ass beat on the line of scrimmage, it's hard to win a football game. And, man, did the Eagles dominate the lines of scrimmage.
Yeah, both sides of the ball. It was amazing. I didn't expect that. But the Eagles came out once showed that Mahomes was not going to have all day to throw, and they were in his face. Even when they weren't in his face, he was making errant throws.
Yeah, he was gun shy too. Gun shy earlier, and man, it was just odd to see the great improviser. I mean, there's improvising, and then there's not having any time to even. I mean, he had no time, did he, Doc?
None. He was, and then he was just getting out of there pretty quick when they weren't even around him.
Yeah, gun shy, definitely. I tell you, and you played it. I did not play the game at a high level. You played at a high level. Man, I know you can steal a game here and there if you lose the line of scrimmage, but you know what? Football is pretty classic. If I beat your ass on the lines of scrimmage, I'm probably going to win the game, right? I mean, I'm probably going to win that game.
Yeah, the Chiefs got punched in the mouth big time and couldn't recover.
Oh boy, it was just weird to see. It was weird to see those guys. I will say this though, to the Chiefs' credit and to Chiefs fans, the day after ESPN had their power poll for 2025, and they still have the Chiefs number one. I guess
they
Mahomes,
got a good squad.
Yeah, and Mahomes is not even 30 years old, right? He's barely 30. All right, Doc. I hope we're having a better discussion next week. As I know you're a big sports fan. I don't know how big of a college basketball fan you are. My God, I know March Madness doesn't start until the third week of March, the third weekend of March. But goodness gracious, I don't know if anybody in the country is playing better basketball than Florida, with or without their injured players. Florida's playing really, really good.
Well, I don't know when the SEC became a basketball conference.
My God, it is
crazy.
It is a deep conference. It's so deep, Doc, and we were talking about this earlier, and we've been talking about this for a week or two. The SEC basketball is so deep that if you pull the four big boys out, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody, but Auburn, Alabama, Florida, and then, I don't know, Tennessee lost last night, Tennessee, Texas A&M maybe. When you pull the big four out, they're going to go into the SEC tournament in Nashville week 2 of March. They actually, I think they'd prefer to lose and get the hell out of there. They don't need the tournament, right? I think they'd rather get out of there without any injuries.
Any injuries, right?
Yeah.
They're so strong. Their records are so strong. They're going to get in that large anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know if you followed Auburn. Gator Nation was a little bit upset. Auburn did not fall out of the 1 spot, even though Florida beat them Saturday late afternoon. Well, Auburn, their strength of schedule, they've beaten everybody that's come their way. I mean, they've beaten top 10 Purdue, top 10 Iowa State, top 10 Houston, Tennessee. Whew. But, Doc, you got to win it all, though. Hey, we said that about SEC football, and they didn't win it all.
Yep.
And they didn't win it all. Doc, good stuff. I appreciate you. We'll get together again next week as we'll get closer to March Madness. That is our buddy Dr. Aaron Bates from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist. Remember, se-ortho.com. He's as good as they get in the area. I guarantee you, you can talk to him, talk to his office. Check out all they can do for you if you've got orthopedic needs. se-ortho.com. Let's take a break. We'll talk some college basketball openings. We think Indiana is open. We think North Carolina might open. Who are some of the leading names? I've got 2 that I think would fit like a glove in those 2 spots if both of those are open. Let's take a break here on the Young and Norvelle show right here on Action Sports Jacks.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Rick's Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Rick's Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Rick's Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
All right, we hope to hear from Brent Beaird here momentarily on a Hump Day edition, a Wednesday edition of the Young and Norvelle Show. Tomorrow we'll be down in Neptune Beach. You know our Thursday hangout. Of course, Sliders Oyster Bar. Want to tease a little bit, or actually get back to a tease that I had. Indiana, one of the great blue blood men's basketball program jobs in America, historically, Indiana. They've announced Mike Woodson. He'll be stepping down. Indiana will be looking for a new men's basketball coach. I think North Carolina has a very good shot at parting ways with Hubert Davis. Carolina may sneak into March Madness. They may not. Either way, I don't think Hubert Davis is the right guy at North Carolina, and certainly Mike Woodson is not the right guy at Indiana. Those are two. I mean, I don't know if you can get any more, blue blood. UCLA, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, Indiana. Those are the bluest of blue bloods when it comes to college basketball. I've got a couple names. North Carolina. And I wish Patrick was on the show because he's got great insight on this guy I'm going to throw out. If I'm North Carolina, my first call, if I have a head coach opening in college basketball, my first call would be Billy Donovan. Yes, that Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan, great career in the college ranks. Marshall to Florida, 2 national titles, great run, multiple Final Fours in addition to the 2 national championships back-to-back. Billy Donovan has been in the the NBA a long time. Where did he go? Oklahoma State for a long time. He's currently at Chicago. He is the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. And before you say, well, Terry, why would you talk to Billy Donovan? This year's Chicago Bulls team is terrible. Well, you're right. They're 10 games under 500. And last night, the Bulls' most recent basketball game, they lost by 40. 40, Zach Rothrock. Okay, the NBA is different.
That's a lot.
40. They're 10 games under 500. They're not great, obviously. Billy Donovan's been in the NBA a long time. He had some pretty good success with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma City, I'm sorry. Yeah. So he hasn't been a failure. And I don't know. I don't know NBA basketball. I don't know if Chicago, they were supposed to be bad. They've got salary cap issues. I don't know all that. I do know Billy Donovan. He's been in the NBA a long time. North Carolina, if they end up firing Hubert Davis, and there's a lot of people that think out there that know college basketball that Hubert Davis, the wrong hire at North Carolina. That's North Carolina, for God's sakes. If I'm the Tar Heels,
the blue blood.
If I'm the Tar Heels, I call Billy Donovan.
Yeah, that's not a bad take.
I call Billy Donovan.
That'd be a good move.
And you may say, well, wait a minute. Why would he get back into the NIL, pay the player? Well, I think the blueprint is written now, and all he would have to do is look over at the football office.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Belichick has no interest in NIL and this and that. Go hire.
I think he does.
No, hold on. Go hire a general manager.
Yeah.
Hire people to do all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
You pick up the phone, you get on a plane, and occasionally go see a guy, but you go, I don't care about all that. Hey, that is the blueprint. If you're Billy Donovan, and Billy Donovan, he's a Northeast guy, played at Providence. He's a Northeast guy. You hear him talk. His dad, I think his dad is still alive. Northeast. Billy Donovan has a lot of roots in the South. Florida. He was on Rick Pitino's Kentucky staff.
Mm-hmm.
That area of the country, if your kids are grown, which Donovan's kids, I think, are pretty much grown now. He and his wife have been married a long time. Christina, I think her name is. Man, you go to North Carolina and say, hey, I'm here to coach basketball. Here's my resume. You know I can coach basketball. Hell, I think Donovan, in a Final Four or Elite Eight, knocked out North Carolina one of the years at Florida. He knocked out Duke. He beat UCLA to win a national title. He beat Ohio State to win. Hey, if you're Donovan and North Carolina calls and you go, hey, man, I can do it at this level. You do the money. You do the G. You do all that. I'll do the hardwood, and I'll get North Carolina back. And, oh, by the way, what a beautiful part of the country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a premier coaching job, and he's got an elite resume. He's got a North Carolina Tar Heels resume.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, to me, there's not going to be that much difference between the NBA and college basketball in terms of having to do the salary cap and all that. The only difference is it'll be – it's hard to put a number on it, but let's just say it'll be 300 times easier to get a superstar at North Carolina Tar Heels than it would be to get to play for your Chicago Bulls when you don't already have one.
You know, with the Bulls, you got to get with the NBA, you got to get lucky with a draft lottery. You got to get lucky. Does a great player come around and you have money, right? You got to have
a Steph Curry, a LeBron James. You got to have a superstar.
If I'm North Carolina, and I think North Carolina, even if they make the tournament, North Carolina's not real good. North Carolina, they could sneak in the tournament. They're not real good this year. Hubert Davis is not the guy. And by the way, North Carolina basketball, it's time to quit doing we got to get a guy with Carolina roots. No, I'm done with that. Bill Guthridge, who was on Dean Smith's staff, and Hubert Davis and Walter Davis, his dad, great North
Right.
Carolina, go hire Billy Donovan. And I'm just throwing the cart in front of the horse. Indiana, and I don't know if you're old enough to remember, Indiana is North Carolina. Indiana is blue blood as well. I mean, Indiana basketball with Bobby Knight, and they won titles, and they love Hoosiers and Indiana, and they love basketball. They have been down for so long.
Basically.
My first call, and Indiana has announced, I think do we have Brent on?
We do. I'm lining them up right now.
Yeah, we're lining up Brent Beaird. By the way, my first call, and Indiana has officially announced that Mike Woodson is done. They're looking for a coach. My first call, if I'm Indiana blue blood basketball, is Jay Wright. Remember Jay Wright, who had all that success at Villanova and won multiple titles. And he is a slick, good-looking, still young TV guy as we welcome Brent Beaird. Brent, we're talking about basketball right now.
Yes.
I think North Carolina will be looking for a coach probably, and Indiana is. I would call Billy Donovan if I'm North Carolina. And if I'm Indiana, Jay Wright, who's more from that part of the country, I would call Jay Wright would be on my speed dial. So they've probably already called him if I was.
Yeah. He may be in the point in his life where he really wants to come back into coaching.
Get back in it. Yeah.
Because I can tell you, he was easily one of the best coaches in America.
Yeah.
When he was at Villanova, just a genius in a lot of ways. I still will wonder if Billy Donovan will not, in his career, in the collegiate ranks at some point.
Yeah.
That would certainly be worth it. But yeah, and listen, Terry, Indiana's got to get this right. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah.
The reality is it just has not worked for them whatsoever. With it, Woodson was, really probably never got off to anything.
No.
So I can tell you this: if the University of Georgia has another game like they did last night, they may be looking for 1-2.
Oh, absolutely terrible deal. But you mentioned Indiana. I mean, they've gone through Tom Crean. What a bad hire. Mike Davis, what a bad hire.
Yes.
Mike Woodson, let's keep it in the family. What a bad Indiana, at least go call Jay Wright. Wright, he checks all the boxes, ultra successful at Villanova. And again, same with a Billy Donovan. You know what? Do they want to get in the middle of well, I think the blueprint is written now. You don't have to get in the middle and go recruit and beg with a blank check.
No.
That's what your college general managers do.
Sure.
And NIL guys do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Brent, let's get to let's stay basketball. Big win for Florida last night under adverse circumstances. It appears the Condon injury is not as bad as it might have visually looked. Looks like a low ankle sprain, negative x-rays. We talked to Dr. Bates a moment ago. He thinks Alijah Martin should be back, definitely after a couple of weeks. A hip pointer should be back. Big win for the Gators. I thought a crushing, particularly, loss last night for Tennessee. Boy, Tennessee, they're about to get passed by Texas A&M if they're not careful in terms of a 2, 3, 4 seed.
Yeah, they really are. And as we said, A&M came back and beat Georgia last night.
Yeah.
I'll comment on that. I want to comment on that in a minute. But Florida is really playing good sound basketball.
They really are.
I mean, that is really impressive to my stars, Terry. What are they going to be when everybody gets healthy and gets back together? That's but look, they're still physical. They're still D'ing teams up. And they can shoot the three. Clayton being back is tremendous. But I'm just telling you, this Tennessee thing is disturbing.
It is. They're better than that.
Look, I like Rick Barnes. but Terry, in some ways, this reminds me of Iowa football. They can't score.
They really can't.
Is that a good comparison?
Yeah, it's a really good comparison.
That they can D you up. Now listen, they could win. Tennessee could beat you 42-40 faster than they could beat you 85-80.
Yeah, and it's Rick Barnes must be really frustrated. Tennessee Vol fan. Tennessee's got a good team somewhere in there. There's a good team.
Yeah.
Do you realize Tennessee, they were 14-0, ranked number 1 in the nation for multiple weeks. They've gone their last 11 games, they're like 6-5.
That's
They're
right.
6-5 in their last 11 games. And I'm telling you, they're about to get passed by A&M. And what a colossal screw up. And I think this could hurt Tennessee in March Madness. If they don't right the ship, they're going to go from a probable 1 seed, undefeated, national ranked number 1 team. They're going to mess around and get a 4 or 5 seed. I think that, from a psyche standpoint, would kill Tennessee going into the tournament.
It'd be tough. Yeah, it really would. Now in the net ranking, they're still in the top 5.
Yeah.
So that's certainly one thing that is in their favor. The Zakai kid is really good. They obviously they missed Dalton Connect, who went to the NBA.
Yeah,
that's tough for them. Good call on A&M. A&M's really good.
They're 8th in the country right now.
Wade Taylor is back.
Yeah,
which makes a humongous difference with that. And Terry, I'm sorry, I've just got to get this out. A&M. I mean to tell you, Georgia's ahead last night by double digits in the first half. That thing looks like it's over.
Not with Mike White.
I texted somebody, it may have been you, is all you got to do with Georgia is let them they just destruct at some point, and that's what they did. But Terry, tell me that wasn't Exhibit A as far as who Mike White is.
Oh, unbelievable. And gosh, the game before, they lose a 1-point game to Mississippi State. Georgia needs one more one kind of upset of a ranked team, and they're in the middle of it. Yeah, typical Mike White. God bless him. He, you know what? That's the level of coach he is. I think that's the level.
It is.
Brent, catch me up. I'll let the show off with, here's what I see with regard to the SEC basketball and March Madness, and tell me if I'm right, wrong, somewhere in between, please. Right now, as we sit, I see 10 teams in. Yeah. I think the SEC will end up getting 12 in. Okay, I would love 13, but I think it'll end up. It just never is as many as you think. I think it'll be 12. Now, with that said, I think we could rattle off the 10 that are in right now. I think the other 2 are going to come from this group of 4. And before I list the group of 4, there's 2 teams that are out of it.
Yeah.
LSU's 1-9, they're out of it, and South Carolina's 0-10. Barring them winning the tournament, they're out of it.
Sure.
So I think there are 10 givens in, and 2 more are going to get in from these 4. Georgia, Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas. I think 2 of them are going to get in, and I think over the next 2.5 weeks, they're all about to start playing each other. I don't know who's going to get in there, but I think they're going to get 12 in.
I think Arkansas might. Cal will eventually settle them down.
Yeah.
I think in another week or 2, and that they could be okay. Now here's the crazy thing about Georgia is EKG-ish. Can we use that?
Yes.
Because they are. The thing with Georgia is, Terry, out of nowhere, Georgia can win the SEC tournament.
Absolutely.
I'm being facetious here, but yet I'm not. When you least expect him, you know what he's going to do in losing.
Yeah.
But when you least expect it, he comes up with 2 or 3 big wins, and that and that's able to keep them in there. Now Texas is better than they looked last night against Alabama.
Yes.
I mean, they've got some pretty good size. I mean, they've got to do a lot with their record in order to get that, safely over 500. So I'm maybe Texas and Arkansas. I'm kind of with you. I've seen 10 or 11. I mean, my Lord, they're talking about 13 about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, 13 would be strong. Definitely.
Yeah. And we know that's probably not going to happen, but
yeah.
At the same time, but and listen, it's already started. But this Alabama-Auburn thing on Saturday at 4:00, that's a great time for that game, by the way. Game day will be there. Both those teams took care of business last night. And I mean, the excitement in that state for basketball right now is just unparalleled. And
Go ahead, Brent.
Terry, it's not just Alabama and Auburn. I mean, Samford with buckyball.
How about that?
That's done well in the tournament. They have done well. Even I don't think they're getting the tournament, but even UNA, where Brother Brent lives up in the Muscle Shoals area, and our friend Reese Davis being from Muscle Shoals, I mean, they've got a shot to be able to do something. So unprecedented times in the state of Alabama.
How good is the SEC in basketball? How about last night? How fun was last night? I barely got home after our show, got settled, took my clothes off, put on some lounging clothes, fed the dog, got me some food, and damn, Florida, Mississippi State's going on. Florida, Mississippi State's going on. Auburn at Vandy. Vandy gave them hell in the second half.
They sure did.
Tennessee, Kentucky, tough loss for Tennessee. Yeah. And then your nightcap was Alabama, Texas, a desperate Texas team. That was fun. Brent, let's go back to Florida. Early in the show, I threw this out. To me, Gator basketball right now, it's good news, bad news. The good news is I think Florida, from the 15-5, the Florida trailed Auburn 15-5.
Yeah.
5 minutes into the game last Saturday. From that moment till right now, I think Florida's playing the best basketball in the country. That's the good news. The bad news, Brent, is March Madness doesn't start until the third weekend in March. You want to be playing. Right. You want to be playing your best basketball in March. My God, Florida's playing good. Injuries be damned. They're playing good basketball.
Yeah, look, I'm with you. The Gators can win the national championship.
Sure.
And I mean, they've got everything. I mean, they've got this inside-out game that they can be physical with you. I mean, they can shoot the daylights out of it. I think their defense is good enough to keep them in basically in every game right now. Florida plays Alabama. Won their last 3 games in Tuscaloosa. That's going to be fascinating. I'll tell you what, though, I'm going to call something right now.
Okay.
If Alabama wins Saturday against Missouri, next week the midweek game they play Missouri at Missouri. I'm gonna call that right now that they'll lose that game in Missouri.
Yeah, boy, Missouri's good. Missouri's good. Brent, let me ask you. You're born and raised in Alabama. You know the area. You went to Alabama. How far roughly is Tuscaloosa and Auburn? Are they 8 miles apart, hours apart, 4 hours? Are they totally different ends? I don't know my geography in the state of Alabama.
Yeah, they're a couple hours away. I mean, Tuscaloosa is based in the center part of the state. It is Jasper, Alabama, the home of Brent Beaird, is about an hour away from Tuscaloosa. And then you've got Auburn. Auburn is near Phoenix City. Auburn's almost closer to Atlanta than it is Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. And Auburn's really close to the state line, right?
Exactly.
Alabama, Georgia. Because I know when we cover games in Auburn, we stay in Columbus, which is right on the line.
Right.
The reason I ask, my God, Saturday, is that game in Auburn, Tuscaloosa or Auburn?
It's in Tuscaloosa, and game days there too.
Yeah. Can we just load it up and go Sunday to Auburn? Because they play twice. They still got to play twice. Can we just play them back to back?
Listen, they play Auburn the last regular game of the season.
I know.
It really wouldn't be. But some people are talking about this already. Would it shock you if Alabama and Auburn played 4 times?
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. 2 in the regular season, one in Nashville, and then they hook up deep in the tournament.
Well, the SEC tournament will be determined by the Terry Norvelle theory of who actually wants to go to the tournament and be motivated enough to win it.
Yeah, I tell you, right now it looks like the SEC basketball tournament, men's in Nashville. If you're Texas A&M could really gain if they ran through it, because they're making a late charge. They're making they're trying to steal, I think, Tennessee's at least number 2 seed.
I would agree. I would agree.
Alabama, Auburn, and Florida right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they give a rat's ass about the SEC tournament. They can't say that. No. They can't play like that.
No, but I think there's a lot of truth to that, though. All in all, now Janai Broome still is not healthy.
Doesn't look it, does he?
But look, Broome at 70% is better than a lot of people at 100.
Yeah.
So the 2 teams we haven't said a whole lot about are Ole Miss, Mississippi State.
Yep.
Ole Miss can really still beat anybody on their schedule.
I agree.
It's a dangerous basketball team the way Chris Beaird has them playing defense. and State, as you saw last night, they didn't look it. State's a little bit out of gas. Yeah. And they need to get something going again. But that Chris Sands has done a really good job with them too. I can see them getting on a roll before it's over. Also,
definitely. About 4 minutes left. We'll be out of here. We'll get back together tomorrow on the Young and Norvelle show from Sliders Oyster Bar. Brent, this is a little bit of a downtime, and I think I sent you a text the other day. I may have thought about it and didn't send it. I wish college football / SEC football could figure something right now.
Yep.
And then maybe after spring games in mid-April, I wish college football could find something to get it back in the news.
Right? I agree totally.
I feel college football it falls off the map until 3 or 4 weeks from now when spring practice starts, and then that little bit after. And I know the coaches need some time off and players and all, but am I wrong there? I wish there was. It just feels like college football needs something right now.
They do. I agree with that. See, that's why people champion this commissioner calls. Is if you get an overall commissioner, you could keep something rolling like the NFL does on a daily basis. And I would agree with that totally. College football really needs something. But in February, March, April, spring takes care of that.
Yeah.
And then you get to May and the magazines come out. So that's a little bit of a plus too. But you're right. It needs to be year round.
I would kill right now to have an updated magazine in my hands. College football. Wouldn't you?
Well, I can tell you this, that it's getting harder and harder to do a magazine.
It really is.
Frankly, with all and I admire the people who do it. Basically, right now, it's Lindy's, Athlon, and Phil Steele.
Yeah.
You and I remember when there were half a dozen out easily.
There were.
So, Sporting News had one.
Sure
believe it or not, Lee Corso had one at some point.
That?
I don't think Lee did a lot of writing for it. Let's just be honest. But he had his name in there. Bob Greasy had one years ago.
Yeah.
Street and Smith with the famous 1-bar face mask. They were out years ago too. So way too many of them go by the wayside.
Don't look now as we got a minute left. Don't look now, but I think college softball has already started.
Yes.
Florida's like number one in college softball, and the SEC. By the way, Oklahoma just came into the league. They're the 4-time defending champions, in case you're wondering.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And then college baseball, I think, all get started this weekend.
They do.
Yeah.
They
do. Typical SEC deep preseason polls for softball and baseball.
Yeah.
Can't wait for it. I love it.
I do too. And look, again, as we've said many times, the SEC network has done more for baseball and softball than probably any other sport, maybe besides gymnastics or something like that.
Really has. I will watch, man. There's nothing better than you catch one of those SEC Friday night baseball 3-game series. You catch that Friday night with both teams are throwing their ace. They're throwing their ace. Then you catch that Sunday. Who's gonna win the series? Is Alabama?
To Terry, real quick, next weekend. It is next weekend. Baseball here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I know Bama's in that. NC State's in that.
I think Ohio State's in it.
Yeah, Ohio State's in it.
Yeah. That's a new thing. We're out of here. 10 seconds left. Brent, thank you, buddy. Let's try to get together on Friday and set the weekend of SEC basketball. Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure, pal. Take care.
Our buddy Brent Beaird. We'll get together tomorrow, 4 o'clock, for the Young and Norvelle show right here on Action Sports Jack.
Finally, a family atmosphere, kid-friendly restaurant with a real sports bar feel. Bricks Jack's Beach features all of that and a large, climate-controlled covered patio with misting fans and heaters for all seasons. Mix in an extremely diverse menu that features the most quality and affordable steak at the beach, and there's no reason not to enjoy your next lunch, dinner, happy hour, or big sporting event at Bricks Jack's Beach, 300 2nd Street North in Jacksonville Beach. See you at Bricks Jack's Beach.
For over 20 years, Southeast Orthopedic Specialists has been providing the highest level of orthopedic and spine care to patients throughout Northeast Florida. Now, we're making that same great care even more convenient with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists Direct, a walk-in clinic where you can be seen for pain or injuries with no appointment needed. Staffed by orthopedic physicians and specialists, we offer everything from diagnosis and treatment to imaging and bracing, all with no appointment needed. For more information, hours, and locations, visit our website.
You really got to hand it to him. Hold on.
The previous play is under further review.
I'm not sure what he could review, but okay. Sure has been a while. Dine in at Hurricane Grill and Wings for the football season. Well, there he is. Oh, what is that?
Hey everyone, Olivia Tasley here from Action Sports Jacks to tell you all the different ways you can watch our new 24/7 network. 3 easy steps. You don't even need a pen and paper to write it down. Step number 1, download the app. Search Action News Jacks in your app store either on your phone or your smart TV. Then, once you're on the app, click on that little drop-down menu in the upper left-hand corner with the 3 little lines. That'll show you these options, and boom, right here, click Action Sports Jacks 24/7, and you will be brought to our continuous stream channel. That app can be accessed through all these different platforms. Whether you have Roku, Fire TV, Smart TV, Apple TV, or Google TV, you can find our app. Now, if you don't have access to the app, don't worry, we still got you covered. We're across all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Twitch. We have a podcast channel. Plus, check out our short reels on our TikTok. Action Sports Jacks 24/7. It's on all the time and everywhere.
Summertime means sizzling sales at Nimnick Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Nimnick never charges above MSRP. You can save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%.
You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnick Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer.
You can schedule a test drive at NimnickBuickGMC.com, and while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnick is there for you, even on Sundays. Visit the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at NimnickBuickGMC.com. Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1940.